welcome to the Murder, She Wrote Rewatch podcast. We're back again. This time, we're taking a look at Broadway Malady. Yes. Pardon me. Now, as always, we're going to take a look at our players in the game, who is all kicking around. We have a bit of a cameo in this particular episode of the Murder, She Wrote Rewatch podcast. Our little cameo in this episode is none other than Milton Berle. Now, Milton Berle was, I should say, an amazing actor and comedic actor. He's done a lot of things over the years. He passed away back in 2002. That's a good 15 years ago now, at the age of 93. So he's lived a good long life, that fellow. He is best known for the Milton Berle Show, which ran for 1 year, and he was also the host of the Hollywood Palace for 5 years, back in 65 to 70. He's been in a couple things over the years. He was in the Sister Sister TV series as Edgar Boggs. What else has he been in? Beverly Hills 90210 as Saul Howard. Jingle Bell Rock. I don't know that one. Oh yes, I do know Jingle Bell Rock. At least I think I do. He was in an episode of Matlock, in an episode of Milton Berle. No, what am I saying? An episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as Max Jakey back in 92. He was on several episodes of The Love Boat as different actors. Where's the one that I'm looking for? Murder, She Wrote. Yep, he was only in that episode of Murder, She Wrote. This one. But he's done a lot of acting. He started in 1914 as a child actor, and he's just gotten more and more and more over the years. All kinds of stuff. He's a well-known actor, for those who don't know. He's not really in this a lot. He plays Lou... What's his name? Lou Feldman. He plays an agent. Our main character in this one, other than, of course, Jessica Fletcher, is Rita Bristol, played by actress Vivian Blaine. And actress Vivian Blaine has been around the block. She passed away in 95 at the age of 74. Ms. Blaine is most noted for having portrayed Miss Adelaide, the long-suffering, perpetually engaged chorus girl in the Broadway and film versions of Guys and Dolls. She originated the role in 1950 on Broadway and stopped the show each night with a rendition of Adelaide's Lament, in which she complains about having a bad cold, I guess. I don't know. So yes, Guys and Dolls. She played Emily Edwards in State Fair. She played Dollface in... or she played Mary Elizabeth Dollface in Dollface. And Linda Farrell in If I'm Lucky. A bunch of older movies. And, only 40 acting credits to her name. None that I think a lot of people would know about today. At least probably the people that watch my show. The last acting credit she has to her name is as Rita Bristol in this episode of Murder, She Wrote in 1985. Playing an older actress. Because it was, yes, after that, she, I guess, retired for the last 10 years of her life. But Vivian Blaine, Then there is Patty Bristol, who is the daughter of Rita Bristol, played by Lorna Luft. Ooh, I did not know that. Lorna Luft is apparently the daughter of Judy Garland. Very cool. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, 50 Years of Magic, herself daughter of Judy Garland. She was in Grease 2 as Paulette. She played herself, presenter in Loose Women. I don't know what that is. What do we got here? Rick and Steve, the happiest gay couple in all the world, TV series. She apparently did the voice of Joanna on 4 episodes of that. The Nanny, Cousin Susan. She was in 2 episodes of Murder, She Wrote. This one of Patty Bristol. And 5 years later as Patsy Dumont. So we won't get to see that one for a while. Trapper John M.D. She was in a bunch of episodes. Not a whole lot of filmography tracks for her. About 18 credits. So not a lot. Christine Matthews in Tales from the Dark Side. The Shrine episode, if anyone's seen that. But yeah, the daughter of Judy Garland. Very cool. Half-sister Liza Minnelli. Very cool. She plays Patty Bristol. Then you have Barry Bristol, the son of Rita Bristol, played by Greg Henry. Now, Greg Henry is a very versatile character actor who's been in everything. Man has 167 credits. 167 credits. And he's still doing stuff. He's most known for the grandfather of Star-Lord, Peter Quill, in Guardians of the Galaxy. He played Val Resnick in Payback. He played Jack McCready in Slither. He played Sam Bouchard in Body Double. And he's done other things. He was Hollis Doyle in 22 episodes of the Scandal TV series. He played Richard Webb in Jason Bourne, the new Jason Bourne movie. He's been in Hell on Wheels TV series as Brigham Young, Chicago Med, Dr. David Downey, CSI Cyber as Calvin Mundo, The Following, Dr. Arthur Strauss, several episodes of that, The Killing as Carl Reddick, and that's just the last 3 years. Dude's done a lot of stuff. But I want to see Murder, She Wrote. That's going to go back. Scroll, because he's been in everything. 160 some credits to his name, acting credits. Dude's been in a lot. Where's the Murder, She Wrote? Where are you? I know you're here. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I need to actually do this. There we go. Found it. Murder, She Wrote. He has been in 7 episodes of Murder, She Wrote. 7. The first one was Broadway Malady, which we've just watched. Which I've just watched. 1985. 1986, he played Sheriff Lynn Childs in a 2-part episode, Death Stalks the Big Top. 1991, he played Richard Wellstud. 1993, he played Carl Ward. 1994, Lars Anderson. 1996, Mark Resner. So yeah, he's been in a few episodes of Murder, She Wrote. LA Law, Reasonable Doubts. Oh, all kinds of stuff. But yes, 167 acting credits. The man is prolific. And he's amazing. I like him as an actor. Who else is in this? Oh yes. Michael Horton. We remember Michael Horton. Yeah, of course we remember Michael Horton. Michael Horton is the actor who plays Grady Fletcher in Murder, She Wrote. For the entire series, he is Grady Fletcher. He shows up in, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 episodes. We've seen him in 2 of those episodes. 1985. We're not going to see him again until 1986 for a couple of episodes. And then he was in 3 episodes in 87, 2 episodes in 88, 1 episode in 89, 1 episode in 90, and then back again in 95. So he took a break for 5 years. Good old Grady Fletcher, the nephew of Jessica Fletcher. So who else do we have? Well, we've got a few other people kicking around here. We have, where is it? There we go. I think, yes, Kate Metcalf is Grady's newest fling. She doesn't have a lot of acting credits to her name. There's only about 12, according to this. She was in an episode of The Jeffersons, an episode, or the TV movie Gone Are the Days, TV movie Summer Fantasy. She played Pretty Girl Number 1 in Joy of Sex, 1984. Mass Appeal, Marion Hart, T.J. Hooker. She played an episode. She played Kate Metcalf in this episode of Murder, She Wrote. Wasn't really a big role. Just a very minor role that was kind of there. But she was there. We have the New York police detective Sergeant Moreno, who's investigating the possible murder. Gregory Sierra is the actor's name. He's been pretty prolific as well. He played Papillon in Antonio. He played Father Giovanni in the movie Vampires with James Spader, I believe. I believe it was James Spader. Or James Woods. Yeah, James Woods. He was Terrence Wheeler in Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And Carlos in The Towering Inferno. Something recent he was in. His most recent work is a short where he played Charlie in the short called Vic. Yeah, there's not much before that. He's in post-production for The Other Side of the World as Jack Simon. Murder, She Wrote, however, he was in 6 episodes. He was New York Police Detective Sergeant Moreno in this one. Murder Through the Looking Glass, 1988. He plays a man named Sanchez. Plays a man named Ramon in Day of the Dead in 1992. And then, in 1993, 1994, and 1995, he plays the same character, Lieutenant Gabriel Caceres, maybe. So he has a bit of a recurring role. But beyond that, there wasn't much after. There's not much recent. Like, as I said, he's got one in post-production now, and before that it was 2006, and then 2000, Blood Money TV movie. So he hasn't been in a lot recently. At least not acting. He might have some other stuff going on. We have Mark Faber as Robert Morse, and he is the director of this Broadway play that's going on. He is most known for Harry the Bookie and All My Children, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, that movie, 1967, The Loved One, Dennis Barlow, and Robert Dickinson and That's Life TV series. Most recently, oh, well, okay. Uh, Most recently, he's done the voice of Santa Claus in Teen Titans Go the last 2 years. I wasn't aware that Santa Claus was a member of the Teen Titans, but ho ho ho. What do we got here? American Crime Story. He was Dominic Dunn. That's a very recent one. He was Bertram Cooper in Mad Men TV series for 74 episodes, so he's been around there. City of Angels, Edwin O'Malley, that TV series. And, he was the voice of Howler in the Pound Puppies TV series back in 86, 87. I remember the Pound Puppies. I used to watch that show. I think I had a Pound Puppy. I know I had a Popple. I had a Popple when I was young. It was the blue one, I believe. I don't remember the name. Where's the Murder, She Wrote now? Murder, She Wrote. It's bound farther, I think. 19... yeah. Mark Faber, that's the only episode he's done. So yeah. Good old Robert Morse. I didn't know he did the voice of Howler. That's cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. We also have Cy Parrish, played by Patrick O'Neill, who has been... he passed away in 1994. He's most known for... his last thing was an episode of Perry Mason, The Case of the Skin Deep Scandal TV movie. In 93 was his last acting credit. But he was Captain Adams in Under Siege. George Bissinger in The Way We Were. Dick Starrett in Dick and the Duchess. Dick and the Duchess. Oh, Hollywood. John Carter in Silent Night, Bloody Night, 1972. What else has he done? Boop, boop, boop. No, not a whole lot. He was only that episode of Murder, She Wrote, Cy Parrish. And stuff before that. TV series Emerald Point NAS. And a TV series called Kaz, I guess. I don't know. And a bunch of stuff before that I do not know. Diagnosis Unknown TV series. Dr. Daniel Coffey. I like the name. Dr. Daniel Coffey. He'll wake you up. What else? What else is there? Is that anybody? I don't think so. Lonnie Valerian is a character played by Elaine Giftos. And got 58 credits to her name. The last acting credit was in 2001. Most known for The Student Nurses in 1970, Gas, or It Became Necessary to Destroy the World in Order to Save It. Okay, that's an interesting name for a movie. 1970, The Interns, Bobby Marsh, 1970, and Mrs. Ross in 1972, Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask. Boop, boop. No. Dragnet TV series? No. Otherworld, Tales of the Unexpected. Murder, She Wrote, Lonnie Valerian, the only episode she's done. Magnum P.I. Mixed Doubles, Ginger Lee Grant. She did an episode in. The Partridge Family, Love American Style. And yeah. Not a whole heck of a lot. She plays an actress in this who ends up coming in to take the role of something. And I think that's about it. There's a couple other minor roles, but that's about it. So let's get into the meat of the episode, now that I've talked your ear off about about this stuff. Let's have a look and see what all we've got going here. Because it starts with a panoramic view of New York City, and we hear someone singing. It cuts into an old black and white movie with some lady, some young-looking lady in the black and white singing a song, very soft, mournful song, and it backs out to where we see that somebody's watching a home movie, and it's this older lady, who looks a lot like the younger lady in this black and white picture, and seems to know the words of the song because she starts mouthing them. The lights end up getting turned on, and we see that. Oh no, sorry. The her daughter comes in, Patty, with some tea, and they start talking a little bit, and then the son comes in, turning the lights on, with flowers because he has finally signed a deal. There's going to be a Broadway play happening with both his mother and his sister together, and it's going to be great. They're going to be starting rehearsals in 6 weeks, and everything is super happy. Everyone looks amazing. Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat because when I first saw who the son is, I was immediately suspicious because I'm like, he plays a scumbag in every episode of pretty much everything I've ever seen. It's almost always him. He's a horrible person because he plays that really well. But that's what I saw. So next thing we see is Jessica Fletcher in her home talking on the phone to Grady, who's backstage of this Broadway rehearsal, and she is being invited out. Jessica is to see the Broadway play, the rehearsal, and to meet the actress Rita Bristol, which of course Jessica remembers from the old days. Not that she's met her, but she remembers the films. And Grady is like super excited. He's like, "You need to come here because you'll get to meet Kate, my current girlfriend, as well as Rita Bristol." So he finally manages to convince Jessica to come. She's a little bit like, "Well, I have this work to do, and I'm not going to have a lot of time because I got to meet with these publishers and such." The next thing we see is Rita Bristol on stage, throwing a fit because of the props being not in the right place. There's some wonderful little back and forth between her and the director, Mr. Robert Morse. He's very much kind of just as stubborn as she is, and he's basically kind of like, you need to calm down, you need to give it your all and whatnot. And then after she storms off back to her room, the director has Patty stick around because he wants Patty to run through her song again and try to sing it on key this time because he's not really happy with her performance. There's a little discussion between the director and Cy Parrish, the producer, the one who's putting all the money in for this. Because Cy's a little bit, he's kind of telling the director, Mr. Mark Faber, I believe is his name. Yes. Telling Mark, maybe you want to lay off a little bit here, that sort of thing. Then we see her going through a song, singing and whatnot, and sounding quite well, in fact. Which, now that I know she's the daughter of Judy Garland, I'm like not surprised, not at all. So we have that wonderful little thing. Then we see Rita and her son coming out of the dressing room. Barry, Rita and Barry, and uh, Barry is kind of he's very supportive of his mother and of his mother, and his mother is kind of like, I should trying to be like, I should not be so hard on the director. I mean, he is the best after all. I mean, that's why we hired him. Um, and she doesn't think that she's like, maybe she shouldn't be like pushing so hard and whatnot for all of her fun, because she wants Patty to succeed. That's really what this is all about for her. Uh, she really wants her daughter's career to take off. Uh, Next thing we see Grady meeting Jessica and Kate as well. Though this is about the only scene that she's really in, and she doesn't really say too much, other than hello, how you doing? Had a couple lines. So Jessica arrives at the hotel, puts her stuff and whatnot in. Jessica tips the doorbell man and lets him be on his way. And Grady is all explaining about the wonderful, fun stuff that's going on. And that Rita Bristol is dying to meet her. She's a huge fan, and he has to bring Jessica. If he doesn't, he's going to hear about it. Because Grady's there doing the books. We see a wonderful little dinner at a fancy restaurant with all of the major players here. Rita gets said hello to by an older Italian sounding gentleman who seems to may have been a movie star in the past. Jessica's talking with Cy a bit and finds him very charming and whatnot. There's a lot of little small talk around the table and whatnot, and a toast ends up happening from Barry. Barry was ending up talking to the writers quite intently, because there's a couple of writers. So he offers a wonderful little toast to his mother and this entire thing, and his sister, and the success of the thing as a whole. The director doesn't seem too enthused. He doesn't think it's going to go off all that great. He's a very critical man, very pessimistic. Cy ends up, kind of cautioning the director again to, just kind of lay off. Jessica goes to call for a cab as they're leaving, and Cy's like, no, I'm not gonna let you call a cab. Get in the limo. I'll see to it that you get home. Barry and Patty are leaving. They're gonna go to his car, which is just parked in the parking garage, so it's only a little ways away. They're gonna walk. As they're walking along, pardon me, we see this old blind man talking about the end being nigh, and in the background, a guy doing 3-card money. And the 3-card money guy's like, hey, lay off. Nobody wants to hear about that. You're scaring away my customers. As they start to head down the alley, the 3-card money guy's like, hey, have a game, man. Win some money. And immediately, this guy jumps out from behind a dumpster with a gun and demands their money and the lady's jewels, and then shoots the lady. Shoots Patty, I should say. Barry pulls out a gun and shoots the guy that shot her a couple times. And next thing we know, they are in the police station. Barry is talking about bail with the detective sergeant, who's eating a carrot stick and not looking too happy about it. They have a whole discussion about whether he's free to go in the incident that happened. And the detective is of the opinion that Barry did everybody a favor. It's one less bum to worry about. If he had it his way, he'd give him a pat on the back and a medal. But because he shot the man with a concealed weapon, it ain't up to him. It's up to the DA. Uh, Meanwhile, Barry is getting a little upset because he's like, I just defended myself. I've been mugged 3 times in the past 8 months, so I bought a gun to protect myself. You're going to fault me for that? And of course, the detective, he's very, no, that's not what I'm saying, but it's the fact that it was a concealed weapon. It's one of them things. It's not something we can just overlook. Now, a police lady comes in and hands the detective some papers, which are from the DA. You find out, and he's free to go. The DA is not going to press charges, and if they are, they know where to find him. Next thing we see is Jessica and Grady in the hotel room. Grady's watching the news as they're interviewing the blind man and reading the paper about this. And the blind man's saying that, he just came out, demanded the money and the jewels, and started shooting. And the shooting started. And to Jessica, that doesn't make any sense. Jessica's like, there's no reason why he should have started shooting before they had any time to get the jewels or get the money. So she's going to check this out. She's not going to just let this lie. No, sir. So she talks to the detective, tries to get him interested and involved, but he wants nothing to do with it. In his mind, nope, it's all done. There's nothing to look into. There's nothing strange at all. He's just a nobody that got killed. This fellow. He's got no criminal record, no connection to Patty at all. And the detective just doesn't see any reason to investigate at all. Next thing we see is Jessica paying Rita a visit. And they have a nice heart-to-heart talk. Apparently Rita called her over. And Rita very candidly talks with Jessica about the fact that she used to be an alcoholic. And she's been 17 years sober now. But the drinking was what caused her career to kind of implode in on itself. And she stopped so that she wouldn't continue damaging herself and her children. It's a very serious, heartfelt moment. I've noticed a lot of these type of moments in TV shows worked into the story, little like moral lessons to be teaching the people that are watching it. I kind of like it. It's very obvious, but it's also very heartfelt at the same time. At least the way they've been doing it here. The next thing we see is because the lady Rita ends up breaking down a bit because, well, her daughter's currently in the hospital. Next thing we see is a girl doing 3-card Monte on the corner. And Jessica is wanting to know about this other guy. And she's like, what are you asking me that for? There's like hundreds of guys who do this. I don't know them all. She's like, if you're going to play. If not, you keep my customers out. So Jessica goes and pulls out a $100 bill. And is like, this is the bet. So you can keep that if I get to meet this other man by the end of the day. Then she goes and tears the 100 in half, gives her half, and says, he'll get the other half when I meet him, and afterward you guys can spend it however you want. So we get a scene flip to authentic Spanish food with this young dude in a leather jacket and jeans of obvious, I believe, Mexican descent, where he is they're basically having a bit of a spicy meal. And she wants to know about the mugging and what he saw. And he corroborates what she finds strange, that he comes out and demands the money and then starts shooting before she gets a chance to do anything. That's stupid. I mean, that's an amateur move. He wasn't no pro, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna shoot the guy that you're robbing and then waste time bending down to get the stuff? So he doesn't have a high opinion of this guy that ended up dying. Then we go to the detective, who looks like he's hyperventilating, even though he says he's not. No, he's doing his breathing exercises. But if she doesn't stop bothering him, he might start hyperventilating him. And the Jessica says, maybe it's because you're eating too fast. So Jessica gets a chance to look at his file, the file of the mugger. That there's no fingerprints in any FBI or police database. He's a nobody. He's a sloppy amateur, just like the guy on the street said. Next thing, we're in the hospital, and Jessica and Rita are going down to pay a visit to the doctor. And the doctor seems to think that she's going to be okay. She's going to be make a recovery, but she's not going to be singing or dancing anytime soon. Next thing we see is a whole bunch of people at the theater talking about Patty and her condition. And while all this is going on, the director comes up with Lonnie, the actress Lonnie Valerian, the actress from Los Angeles that the director called up, and she jumped at the chance to come out here. And it's fairly obvious that he wanted her and had her prepped to be there for when Patty was no longer around. Oh, suspicion on the director for setting this up, getting rid of Patty. My, what's going on? So there's a very bit of an awkward, uncomfortable moment between the key players here, between Cy and Billy, or Billy? I think it's Billy. Barry. Between Cy and Barry and Mark and Lonnie. Definitely some interesting stuff. Then we see Grady and Kate and Jessica all having dinner at Grady's place. While the TV's on, they're just starting to set up the table and whatnot. And Jessica happens to notice on the TV, because there's something going on there, there's a show, she notices that there's an actor on here. And she's like, that's him. That's the mugger that was killed. He's an actor. So, of course, immediately she goes to tell the detective and show him that it was, see, that's the mugger right there. So she shows him, and he's just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So what if he's an actor? I mean, yeah, it kind of looks like him, but so what? The case is closed as far as he's concerned. He's not interested in checking this out anymore. As far as he knows, it's done. And, of course, Jessica's like, is that your final word on this? And he says, absolutely. So Jessica, of course, lets him know that, I think you're wrong, detective. And she goes off to prove it. How does she do that? Well, first things first, she goes and tracks down Lou Feldman, the wonderful agent of the actor, and they have a discussion about Lou, and that he dropped off the face of the earth for a while. He's always trying to get some movie done up, and whatnot. It's a simple little conversation. I mean, he was only in it for this scene, naturally guest starring role. The actors did that a lot back in the day. Um, for just like a walk on for like a day, they did a little bit on the show, and that was about it. Uh, so she ends up getting a promise from Lou to get the credits list of uh, the wonderful fellow who was the murderer, who I believe his name is. Let me see. Let me just check here. See if I can't find it. No. I can't remember it now. But the actor who ended up dying. She ends up going to be getting the credits list for him to see what productions he's been involved in. We end up going back to the stage as Rita is finishing a number. The director is, of course, gushing over Lori, or Lonnie. Yeah, gushing over Lonnie and how great she is. And of course, Rita just tears him a new one because she's of the opinion that he not only did he want her here and not Patty, because now the role that Patty was going to be playing, that is now being played by Lonnie, has 4 new pages added to her role. So it's fairly obvious from Rita's point of view that happened. Of course, Barry comes out, tries to calm his mother down, but she wants none of it and storms off. And the director tries to calm down Barry about his mother. Things start getting heated, and the director says the wrong thing to Barry, who ends up hauling off and punching him right then and there. Just boom, lays him out on the floor. Grady was going to talk to him about something, but he goes and storms off, because as Grady tries to, he's just like, not now, not now. Next thing we see is Jessica, of course. Miss Jessica Fletcher doing her thing, having a chat with Grady about what he wanted to talk to Barry about. These figures from the audit and whatnot that he does of the books from Psy, that apparently Psy has sold about, I think, over 150% shares in the production. And if the production is a success, Psy has to pay all that back, which is going to be trouble. But if the production goes up and is a flop, then that extra money, extra 50% that he sold over, he gets to keep that with no one the wiser. Because if it's a flop, productions don't have to pay anything. Grady and Jessica end up going to where the actor was staying, some old theater, and this young lady, who I believe I didn't mention, she's only in it for a bit, Gretchen Pashko, played by Barbara Winnery, who really doesn't have a lot of acting credits to her name. Now that I'm looking at it here, I think she's only been in the Murder, She Wrote, 1980. Yeah, she was only in that one episode of Murder, She Wrote. Apparently she was in Hot to Trot. I remember that movie. The Talking Horse and Bob Goldthwait. But yeah, other than that, not really a whole lot. But yeah, she's talking about the actor and how he was a bit of a sellout, always trying to get his movie published, and that he found an angel who was going to be coming into money and would agree to not only produce it, but allow him to star and direct in this movie, which was horrible. Uh, Meanwhile, at this point, Jessica has realized that Rita is in danger. So she's going to be going and checking on Rita while Grady goes and gets that list of credits for the actor. Uh, Jessica and the security guy, I guess, at the place where Rita is staying, rushes in and they find the gas on, Rita on the floor. They get the window open. Jessica turns off the gas, checking on Rita. We see an empty bottle of alcohol on the floor, and Jessica picks up a pill bottle. That seems like overdose. Alcohol and pills and gas. We see an ambulance driving through the streets. Intensive care in the hospital as everyone's waiting around for the doctor to come out. And he does, but he says that mother can't be disturbed right now. Grady arrives, and there's a bit of a discussion happening outside as Sai's talking about getting somebody to replace Rita. Barry's all pissed off about it and raging at Sai about this. So right now we've got the director with a motive, and we've got Sai with a motive, wanting to get rid of the actresses and make it a flop. The director wanting to get another actress in to make it a success. Jessica and Grady are having a little bit of a whispered conversation. And after the doctor comes out and says, she's currently still in critical condition. Nobody can see her just yet. Don't worry, we'll be monitoring her. Just, you can go. We'll notify you immediately if there is any change. So Jessica then asks Grady for that list of list of credits of what he's done. So Jessica has a look at the list of films and television, and that's when she knows who has done it. Everybody's in the cafeteria as Jessica comes in. A few moments later, they're having a conversation. Barry's apologized to Sai for getting all upset, and there is an announcement over the loudspeakers about the doctor asking for Barry Bristol to come to intensive care. Next thing we see Jessica pouring Barry a cup of tea back at Rita's place because Rita has passed away. And this is where the confrontation happens, because Jessica informs Barry that he is the one who killed his mother. He is the one who set it up to try and kill his sister to get all the money. And she laid out how it all happened, how he hired the actor to do this with the promise of getting him his own movie made, and ended up just killing him outright. How he set up the muggings ahead of time, because of to basically make it so that he'd have a reason for buying the gun. How she knew that Rita was murdered and didn't do it herself because Rita always kept a pot of coffee on, and when Jessica arrived, the coffee pot was empty and washed on the stove. So somebody sedated her, washed up after, and whatnot. And it was Barry. Barry was the one. I should have trusted my instincts, because he plays a scumbag very well. Only this time, it's not really so much a scumbag, but still a bad guy. Of course, he argues the point and whatnot. And Jessica is very much almost acting like Rita in a way, pushing his buttons, getting him angry, letting Barry know that she knows everything. She knows exactly how he did it, how he set everything up, and why he did it, because of the money, because of all the money. Barry, of course, breaks down and ends up admitting it to Jessica, and then plans to go and kill Jessica, of course. Comes very close to throwing her out a window. But somebody interrupts. Who is that somebody? Because Barry's all like intense about asking, if Jessica knows how he feels, that his mother wouldn't give him anything, that his mother only loved Patty, never him, and this is why it drove him to do that. And the one that ends up interrupting them is Rita Bristol. She's not dead after all. And that takes the fight right out of Barry. Because Rita ends up confronting him, and he just breaks down. And yeah, the fight's out of him completely at this point. The next thing we see is Patty Bristol and Rita Bristol starring in, was it April Fool's? I think. Oh no, Always April. Starring in Always April. Singing and dancing out on stage as Grady calls, talking about how great they sound and how great it is. They're both fine. Everything's going to be good and whatnot. She, of course, asks about Kate, and he says, "Oh no, Kate ran off with some dude from like Pennsylvania or something." But wait till you meet Francesca, because Grady doesn't have much luck with the ladies. That, of course, makes Jessica laugh. She ends up covering the receiver, so she's not laughing at Grady. And the credits roll, and another murder has been solved, but not the murder of somebody that was sympathetic. The murder of a murderer, or an attempted murderer. Interesting twist. Interesting twist in this episode. I liked this episode quite a bit. It was very simple. And as I said, as soon as I saw Greg Henry, I'm like, well, he always plays a bad guy. It's probably him. And then it ends up, over the course of the episode, I'm like, maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't. No, it's him. It's totally him. So, that's going to be it for this episode of the Murder, She Wrote Rewatch podcast. Thank you all so much for watching, or listening, as the case may be. Yeah. If you guys like what I'm doing here, and you seem to, because I seem to be getting some good views on this, thank you to everybody who does watch. You continually surprise me with the people that want to watch my little thing here of me just talking about Murder, She Wrote. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Do the liking and the subscribing, and hit that notification bell if you like. It might help you keep you apprised of when I do new videos. And throw a comment in the comment section. What do you think about Murder, She Wrote? What do you think's coming next? Because I can tell you exactly what's coming next. Because the next episode in the Murder, She Wrote Rewatch podcast is going to be none other than Murder to a Jazz Beat. A trip to New Orleans gets off to an uneventful start when the leader of a popular jazz band is poisoned during a performance. My. Things are getting interesting. So yes, I'm quite excited to go on to the next episode. We've got quite a few more to go before we hit the last episode of this season. But that's okay. We're making good headway. So yes, do all that good stuff. And don't forget to join me next time for more murder.